We are live right now. You are live with the ladies of the Real Recognized Real Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Franchella, and your co-host, Lynette, is also live with us. We have a show. We do a show every second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. And June 9th, we're having some fabulous guests on our show. But periodically, you're going to see us come on and do a special report or special show, a special edition show, due to things that are happening in our community and in our lives. So, it will be off of what we usually come on and have our show on, like I said, every second Tuesday. So sometimes you'll see us just pop up because of special things that are going on in our world. So without further ado, today we are actually talking about the murder of George Floyd in the hands of racism and those who are supposed to protect and serve us. So I did, reach out to some people that are interested in being a part of our conversation. And, when they come on, I would gladly put them on. So,
So Derek is trying to get on now. He's texting me. So if y'all wonder why my head keep going down, that's why.
Okay. No worries. So like I said, people will be trying to get on and to be a part of this conversation because we, are hurting, not only people of color, but people all over the world are hurting from seeing and witnessing this video. This video is very disturbing. I couldn't even watch it. It brought tears to my eyes. For the second time, having someone saying that they cannot breathe and you consistently having your knee on his neck. And it's just something that should not be done. I think what's happening, and someone said that before, that, and I posted that it's not, I don't think that things have changed. I think all these things have been going on for years.
Years.
It's just that now that we have access to social media and we have access to videotaping the incidents, having cell phones, because we had cell phones back in the day. You had
exactly.
you had pay phones, you had landlines. Who has a landline nowadays? So it's not even about, that things are getting worse. No, I think it's still the same, and it's just now being recorded.
Exactly.
What do you have to what is your intake on what you have been seeing, across the new feed?
I agree with you. Like, I agree that now that the world is watching, and because we have camera phones, we have store cameras and stuff like that, we're able to capture what has been going on for a long time, And since slavery days, we talked about police brutality. If it wasn't the police, it was their dogs, or it was them hosing us down and stuff like that. So I think that this is something that is almost like a pandemic, that because it's been going on for so long, outside of our view, because again, we didn't have the camera. So it's something that is very upsetting. It's very disappointing, especially we're in 2020 now. And it's like we're still facing some of the same things that we were facing in 1864. Like it makes absolutely no sense. So my take on it is I'm furious, and I'm not even a black man, but I'm furious for the black man because I'm a black woman and I see the injustices. So this topic is very very passionate. I'm very passionate about it, and I'm going to try not to cry through it, because not only is it infuriating, it's sad, because at the end of the day, we are all human beings first. We are all human beings first. We are all God's children, and we should treat each other as such. No matter what our race, religion, creed is, we should treat each other like the human beings that we are. So when you see officers who are supposed to protect and serve us doing the total opposite, it is upsetting. And so when you see people of all races out there protesting, it's because we're tired of being sick and tired. It's because enough is enough. And what is it going to take for people to actually get that, oh, it's not that people are pulling the race card. This is our reality every day. We're faced with some type of stereotype, some type of prejudice, and some type of injustice. And it has to stop. We're in 2020. It has to stop. It has to stop. And you know, when you speak up about how you feel about it because you're so passionate, or, you know, you're labeled, oh, the angry black girl. No, it's not that we are angry. We are hurt and we are tired, and it has to stop.
Tired. Absolutely. So I'm going to read something that Michelle Obama just, you know, put out there. And it's so true. It's so on point. You know, I mean, this first lady that we had, I mean, she has just been phenomenal. And I am so proud to even have had her and been in this lifetime to have had her as our first lady. But she writes, like so many of you, I'm pained by these recent tragedies, and I'm exhausted by a heartbreak that never seems to stop. Right now, it's George, Brianna, Ahmaud. Before that, it was Eric, Sandra, and Michael. It just goes on and on and on. Race and racism is reality that so many of us grow up learning to just deal with. But if we ever hope to move past it, it can't just be people of color to deal with it. It's up to all of us, black, white, everybody, no matter how well-meaning we think we might be, to do the honest, uncomfortable work of rooting it out. It starts with self-examination and listening to those whose lives are different from our own. It ends with justice, compassion, and empathy, and manifests in our lives and on our streets. I pray we all have the strength for the journey, just as I pray for the souls and the family of those who were taken from us. I mean, that just hits it on the nail. I mean,
Absolutely.
you know, right. So, you know, the crazy part about this is, you know, you hear, I mean, you see so many negative, you know, besides the outrage and the frustration, you know, you see some negative posts too. And you know, at the end of the day, it's not even it's about justice. You know,
Absolutely.
they want to throw in our face, you know, the black on black crimes. You know, oh, nobody,
which has nothing to do with the what we're talking about right now. It has nothing to do what black people are doing, what some black people are doing to each other has nothing to do with that officer did to that black man. Now they can try to use it as an excuse, but is no excuse for for killing anybody. There's no excuse for killing anybody. And go ahead, I'm sorry.
No. Go. I mean, keep it going, girl, because it's like, you know, we have blacks that's killing blacks, we have whites that's killing whites, we have Asians that's killing Asians, we have
exactly
Indians killing Indians. So black on black crime is not the issue here. It's not. The issue. It's whites cops who are killing unarmed black men. You know,
exactly.
They kill unarmed black men 5 times as much as any unarmed other nationality, you know?
Exactly.
And what is it? You know, I mean, several years ago, the cops had this sensitivity training because of, you know, a lot of these incidents, you know, but
that's a check box. That's just a check box, Franchella. Like you know, they say, okay, well, we're gonna. It's to appease everyone else. Hi, Derek.
Hey, what's going on? How you feeling?
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you made it on. So we're in the process of talking about, as you know, George Floyd and the tragedy of what took place with the officer murdering him in broad daylight while he was being videotaped. That's my interpretation of what they spin, how they spin the story, but that is what I saw. That is what happened. So we're just giving our opinions, and we're having an open forum on the Real Recognize Real Talk Radio Show about the injustices that a lot of our Black men are faced with in today's society.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we'll let you just jump right in there, Derek. You know, being a Black man here in America, how does this situation make you feel?
I mean, honestly, man, of course I'm frustrated, but I just think we at the point, man, where we gotta fight back. You know what I mean? That's my take. A lot of people don't want to hear what I say. I've been saying this for years. You see, I'm cool with all the protesting and all of that. It's like this, man. We dealing with bullies. So even it's funny, right? My son was telling me that his mom was talking to him about how to handle the cops and all of that, right? And I'm like, at this point, those talks. So I just showed him a video. I don't know if y'all seen the video with the other boy that just got killed by the two guys, right? The son and the father. But like 2017, the Aubrey dude, right? You know what I'm talking about? Y'all saw that?
Right, yeah.
Where he had his hands up.
Yes.
Code. So it's like at this point, it's really like, and then he tried, the taser just didn't go off. So I'm saying it's like, yeah, it's a level of frustration, but I'm at the point, I'm not saying, you know, you want to comply and all of that, but the frustration is like, at some point, when do you say enough is enough? Like, I'm speaking from a point of, you know, I used to do that, pull over and all that. Like me, I'm glad that I wasn't in that situation, because it might have been, I couldn't have been just there filming while this dude was dying.
Right.
Exactly.
Right, and I hear that, and you know, I also posted something about that. You know, it's the fear of dying. So here's the thing: if this young lady, because people are coming at her about videotaping this, if she would have then helped him, would two people be dead and no video?
Exactly. You know? I'm sorry.
I understand that.
My thing is this: I
get it. I'm saying though, like, I get
that. Go ahead, Lynette. Go ahead.
If you watch the video, you can see the people that were videotaping, and there were people, the bystanders were in the background. They were trying to come on the street. Some of them, you saw them walking up, and then you saw the Asian man come and stop them from coming. And then you see the officer who had his knee on his neck. He kept reaching for his waist. See, people say he had his hand in his pocket, but he was reaching for his mace that he had, and he was saying he was threatening to mace them if they came and stopped them. So this man deliberately sat there and murdered this man while everybody was watching and had no remorse. And then they're going to give him third-degree murder and manslaughter as if it wasn't intentional. It was intentional. When the man saw.
All right, we lost Lynette. She's passionate about this, so she'll be coming in and out. Go ahead, Derek.
No, I mean, I again, man, I'm not a tough guy. I'm not scared to die. You understand?
Right.
I'm sorry, y'all. My internet service is very spotty.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Go ahead, Derek.
No, I'm just saying, I get it. Like, okay, they put it like this. Right now, right? People are throwing rocks at cops. You could have ran behind a car and threw a rock at the nigga or something. I mean, I don't know. We looking at it now, and we can say whatever we could do, right?
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is, if we already in this mindset, you dig what I'm saying? Like I'm not heavy on. I don't be on social media because like that. Because for me, looking at this stuff over and over, I get kind of frustrated. So what am I saying? We didn't seen enough of this. We didn't seen enough of people filming. Like, so now it's like, okay, what do you do in a situation like this? I get it. You might not want to run up on them. You see what I'm saying? But if you say, okay, if this happened, instead of filming and say I ain't gonna do nothing, yo, go behind. You know what I'm saying? Do something like that.
Right.
That's really extreme. But I'm saying if we already in this mindset of how we going to handle this, you feel what I'm saying? Even like now, everybody turning up and everything, but what's gonna come out of it? Or what are we gonna do going forward? How are we gonna handle this? So that leads me back to the talk that we have with our black sons and all of that. It all depends on the cop you get. Because if your hands is up or whatever, if they want to do what they want to do, they're going to do it. So you gotta instill some level of fight back once it get to a certain point.
No, absolutely. But so Derek, here's my thing is like, okay, so I'm walking down the street and I see, the cop, stopping, one of our brothers or sisters or whatever, and I stop because I know of the police brutality. But it's like, you have in your back of mind, what did they do? Did he just kill a child? Did he just rape a woman? What did he do? So now you're between a crossroad because it's like, okay, did he do something so devastating that maybe you want to knock him out yourself? You know what I mean? So you don't know what the crime is, but you know what's happening is not right. So, and you don't personally know this person. So you're actually really torn between what do I do? So the best thing to do at that point is take out your camera phone and just videotape any injustice that's happening, because you don't know actually what parts, what did this person, what crime did they commit? You know what I'm saying?
No, I understand that, but that's like,
and we wouldn't know about it if nobody videotaped it, we wouldn't know about it.
Don't videotape.
They would have their own story.
I'm not saying don't videotape, but we videotaping from like 4 different angles. So that means if all of us are videotaping, one of us got it. All I'm saying, this is it. Look, I don't expect everybody to be ready to go fight or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? That's just, but you gotta have, it can't just be one lane.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
If you're the only person videotape, videotape. But if me and you there together, right? Somebody say, all right, you put the tape, I'm gonna run around the corner and throw rock. Now again, it all depends on the situation. Because like you said, if you walk up on somebody and they resisting, then they resisting arrest. But are we talking about blatant shit like we just seen?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're gonna go ahead, let me be quiet. Go ahead.
That's okay. No, I just want to welcome Will Maker. Hey, Will, how are you?
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all?
How you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. This open forum about the murder of George Floyd. And so, what is your take on the situation?
I mean, that's a pretty broad question. So I guess I'll give you a kind of broad answer. I mean, it basically, it's a continuum of what we've been experiencing as Black people in this country since the early 1600s.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have had an ongoing history of Black people resisting oppression on many levels, right? And so there's been like a roller coaster history. And so I was just kind of looking at the people on this on the stream, on the Zoom, we all fairly look pretty much like the same age. Our age demographic has had a fairly peaceful existence. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is we have been able to exist in society when rules and laws have allowed us to kind of maneuver and move through society without overt oppression existing by law, right?
Right.
And now we're seeing an environment where the head lawmaker of the country is inciting people to use law, government, and police to exercise some of their racist ideology. And so now we're experiencing more overt racism than what we've been used to in our lifetime, and getting a small taste of what our ancestors have experienced previously.
Absolutely.
But is it because we just seeing it more because they filming it? Because I know countless people, myself included, that's been going through this. You see, so that's what I'm saying. I agree. You do have to tape. So, like my brother said, it's a broad thing. Like even how you said you brought up a different scenario if you walk up and you don't know what's going on. You dig what I'm saying? But the overall picture is they think they can do what they want. So even if they got somebody, you know, that they comply that and they take it to the extreme. So the initial question is, how do I feel? I feel like the brother said, it's been going on forever. It's just catching it more on tape. Think about it, man. This is the one that just made everybody explode. But we just been seeing this shit going on even this year. This, for some reason, is just one because it was just like, oh my God. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It was just so blatant, but it's been happening. Right. And that's the only thing that brought about.
That's what Franchella and I was saying.
It's just been happening so long, man. You know, and it's crazy. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Very, very sad. We want to welcome Antonio, who actually just tuned in as well, and I'm excited that he's on because he has been on the other side, and he's in law enforcement. So, Tony, you just jump right in there and tell us about your experience and being. You also was in the military too, if I'm correct.
That's correct.
So okay. Make sure that you click enter studio, Antonio.
All right, hold 1 second for me.
Yeah.
Chat.
You're on, Antonio.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. I'm jumping a little late, but I get the gist of the conversation. For the most part, it's kind of hard when you see it both sides. Being someone who is proud military, proud police, you have those pacts initially where it's one of those things you always taught you'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. So you kind of going to do, you get that family bond there. But at the same time, being someone who comes from an area where, the police, I'm in a city called Frederick. They kind of call it Fredneck when I first moved out this way. And it was at the point where the NAACP had to get involved because there wasn't enough minorities and representation into the police department. I kind of look at it now, the way they do that now, instead of hiring minorities, you hire a whole bunch of white females to take the place for minorities. So it's still just very limited here. It's one of them things where, like the other officers in this case here, the 3 officers that were sitting around, it's one of the things where it's kind of like these are your family at this point. When you get involved in law enforcement, a lot of people that your regular friends that you grew up with no longer become your friends for whatever reason. They dissing themselves. I had 1 or 2 friends that realized, like, yo, he a North Philly dude. He ride motorcycles. I prefer to be closer to him than stand away from him. So as police officers, you become tight that way. I know the area where I'm at, most of these white police officers never really been around black people. And I used to always tell them from the academy, the guys that I ride motorcycles with, the guys that I grew up with, when you confront them with this police shit this police stuff that they teach us with, they're gonna look at you sideways because they're not scared to go to jail. So you better come at them correct because you're looking at them a certain way. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to cuss anything this way, but even around with like corporals and stuff, they be like, he effing me, he doing this and that. Like, no, he's looking at you because you're looking at him. So you already had this perceived presumption that he's looking at you in a bad way. As I had to tell him, we're wondering why are you looking at us? So when you get these cops that grew up in all these rural white areas, only had 1 or 2 black friends or 1 or 2 black guys that went to school, when we start getting upset, and especially a black female, I can begin to tell you how many times I went to domestic stuff and they be like, you better shut up, I'm gonna lock you up, this and that. Like, that's the worst thing to tell a black female to shut up. She's even gonna go even further. They're not, So
that's right.
It's like, for me, it's like a bittersweet thing because You know, I grew up in that area. I lived out in LA where that Rodney King stuff happened. I was in LA during that time. And I lived in that area, Thousand Oaks, where only black people, everybody knew everybody. So I kind of see both sides of it. This Floyd stuff, band on this guy's neck, that shit is ridiculous. And I'm all over the place right now because I jumped in late. But like my point would probably, let me get back to the point was, being a police officer on that side, you have that bond, like you kind of have that pact. We're going to go home each and every night. So you down almost to a certain extent for whatever. The moment you stop trying to go inside and go along with the stuff, you see the repercussions where people stop backing you up. You start kind of wondering, damn, they left me out here on my own. So sometimes you got to go along with the program. And then even more importantly, a lot of these new officers, like I noticed that one guy was leaning on his neck. He was probably around my age, he was a little older, whatever. They old school cops. A lot of the newer cops just as down as we are. Yeah, they have scared when they get in a situation because they don't know how we're going to respond because they don't know us. So I look at it, they need to do more of hiring people in your community, people who, you know, represent you, look like you, and know your situation. And the easiest way to look at that, you never hear white people, this happening to white people, because they know their body language. They know how they're going to respond. You'll never hear this because that, you know, they're going to approach them the same way where in our situation we approach us. You got somebody high as hell on something, that's something different. But for the most part, we're going to talk to each other civilized, be like, yo, man, chill out. You know, I don't want to lock you up. I don't want to do this and that. You go take a walk, go get, you know, go somewhere, come back later on, chill out. With them, is already, they half scared. When they get their phone call, they half scared even going to the phone call.
Right.
So, I'll back out because I don't want to talk too much, but that's where it's amazing. But I don't know. Let me get into the conversation and get caught up, and I'll be good to go.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you being a cop, right? Because that's the thing too. We heard a lot.
He's not a cop anymore.
I'm a scientist now, man,
on the other side, right? Even just the last, because there was a lot of jewels in there, but the last part, like, why do you think is it a shortage of black cops? What you're saying, while they're still putting so many white cops, like groups of them, in our community, instead of saying, listen, we need to, you know what I mean? If you got, even with the bike joints, you see a lot of white cops grouped together. There was an incident over the summer, and it's funny because I had my camera. Yeah, I actually put it in a piece, right? And the two brothers sitting on the bench, and the cops just wilding out. You dig what I'm saying? So we did, but it was like one thing I give them a little props for, because they was there to talk a little bit, but a couple black cops came up, and you see what I'm saying? So do you think maybe, or I'm just asking, why don't they practice that more? Like, you know what I'm saying, and putting more black cops around these cops that you know is crooked, to level it out?
Well, to be honest, you should never put anybody, if it's crooked, you should be able to speak up and say something. Part of why I'm not a cop myself, because I had my buddy John, he's from Philly, he brought his son out here, he was from Philly, and his son was wilding out, and like, you know, they're not used to our type of personality. When we start talking, we get excited, our voice raised. We city people, that's what we do. We're emotional to a certain extent when we're expressing ourselves. And they used to always like, yo, that little dude, I catch him, I'm gonna do this and that. I had to tell them, I'm like, you know what? That little boy like my nephew. You put your hands on him, you got all hell's gonna break loose. It's not that sweet. But at the same time, like I said, it's a lot of great cops out here, man. So I don't even want like they're just white guys or whatever else. There's a lot of them just as down as us, man. But why you say why they didn't put out as our community? Two things, man. We really don't apply for a lot of black guys or black women or whatever. Don't apply for police officers like that. I'm in a little suburbs a little bit. I know Philly. I have a couple of cousins. My best friend AC, he's a Philly police and all that stuff. But for the most part, it's like that stigma or whatever. The guys who didn't fight or whatever become police officers and all that kind of stuff, which is so untrue, because Lynette will tell you, I was a terror. But it's like different little concepts. And then the other part is like they'll tell you, like they started hiring like female cops, white cops and stuff like that. So that covers that minority. So when they go look at to say, oh, you don't have minorities. Well, yes, we do. We have females. So like in this area, like I said, when I came on board, it was 4 of us had to go through the academy. It's probably a department, maybe like 100, something like that there. We had 2 or 3 that was here they were whiter than the white people, to be honest with you. But you know, us going through, the NAACP had to step up to say it's not representation here. So they hired us. They had a couple of Latinos and stuff like that. And but now the way to get around it, you hire a whole bunch of white females because they're considered minorities.
So through this, you know.
Well, one of the things that I think is important to note that despite your race, right is right and wrong is wrong. And even white officers who stood there and just watched this take place without getting involved. When you are engaging in excessive force, and that was like beyond excessive to me, it was like extreme excessive if there's even such a thing. But when you are engaged in something so inappropriate for so long, like this man, it almost went on for almost 10 minutes. I think they said it was like 7 or 8 minutes. So you see that he's already dead. You see that he's already handcuffed. You see that he poses no threat. You see that all of these things that you say you are afraid of, once you see that the fears are no longer in play, at what point do the other officers step in and say, okay, man, look, let's get him up and put him in a squad car? Like, to me, it's not rocket science. So for the world, not the world, but some people in the world to make excuses for the officer as if it wasn't intentional, to me, it was truly intentional. So I don't know where
it was intentional. And let me say this, and I don't know if anybody peeped this, but first of all, they worked together for years as security guards at a club, a Latino club. So the owner came on and said how this white officer never wanted to work, the black parties. He only wanted to work the Latino. Something transpired between him and George during the course of them working together. Why I say that is because the tape did not never show him resisting arrest. Excuse me. Didn't show them resisting arrest.
Right.
So why, if you look at it again, he says to him, while he has his knee in his neck, he says to him, "Oh, you're not a tough guy now." Why did he say that to him? Something transpired between them years ago. Exactly. He recognized him, or whatever the issue is. This man died over what they thought was a counterfeit $20 bill.
A counterfeit $20 bill. Yeah.
Sorry.
But it said they worked at the same
time. He didn't die over a counterfeit $20 bill. He got called about. The police were called about the $20 counterfeit bill. He got murdered because that white man who murdered him had it out for him. That's just a call. They could have called him and said that he stole a pack of gum. It wouldn't have made a difference what the issue, what the call was about. That was personal.
Right.
And so I think the greater issue here is that since the advent of police, the existence of police in this country, the origin of police in this country starts with slave patrols.
You're right.
That's 100%. How policing began in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And so the origin, the core of something will always permeate what it is. And that's why even in cities like Philadelphia, where the majority of when we talk about demographics, black people are the majority of the police force is white, because it's become a traditional career path for white men. And conversely, it's been always looked at as something negative by black people, because the history is that they're not in our best interest, so why would I want to be that?
Right.
And so the ideology of policing has always been about oppression. Mm-hmm. It's always been about oppression.
Mm-hmm. To add to your oppression is even more. If you notice, prior to that time, white people, that's when white people became white people. Prior to that, it was, well, I'm Italian, I'm Irish, I'm this, I'm that. So when you're saying what you're putting is 100% correct, because they were poor. So to make them feel a little better than the next person, definitely better than us, they put them over us where they were snitching and policing and so forth like that. Obviously, initially, Bobby started in the UK as police as a whole, but in this country, from slavery, that's what that part began about. So it's like, it's no longer, so now they all white people grouped in as white people versus before you always heard, I'm Italian.
Right.
I'm not sure where everybody's from, but the ones in Philly knew the Italians, but like, I'm not white. The old, you know, especially like in the mob type people, I'm not white, I'm Italian. So, but now they're grouping that white because they made them to feel better than us. They were just as poor as us, but with them being over to watch us and to snitch on us and say we running away, this and that gave them a sense of purpose.
So where do you think, this is a question for all of you. Where do you think that the hatred comes from? Is it taught, or, you know, because when you do see things like this, you see among their faces a rage, like it's not just discipline, or it's a rage of hatred. Mm-hmm. So where do you think that stems from?
Well, yeah, I think it's. So I mean, this place was built on that, man. Like, for people to think that racism is going to stop, it's never going to stop. Like, we dealing with like you said, okay, is it taught? Of course, it's taught. I'm pretty sure all y'all seen the joint is real powerful, man. Joy DeGruy, post-traumatic slave syndrome. Y'all see that?
I didn't. I need to.
Yes, big joint. But anyway, to speak to that, right? She pulled up the infamous picture of the guy hanging, right? And she points out, look, they all got on suits and all of this kind of stuff, right? So it ain't just a snagger-tooth dude and all of that. But the interesting thing was, she said, look at the little girl. So basically, you got the little girl looking at this. You feel what I'm saying? So not only are they desensitized to us because they looked at us as animals, that's embedded in them. So this girl that's in the park and all these other ones, they are the children of this, to answer your question. Yeah, it's taught. And then it's like, yo, who's going to give up this privilege that we have? This white woman called the cops. Like, dude, this how bold they are. He got the camera, and she still don't say, telling them, I'm gonna call the cops and tell them that you tried. Like, you see, so it went past her entitlement went past her just being thinking. Her logic. Like, you incriminating yourself. You just telling them what you're gonna do, but you know you got this system so in back of you that you that bold. While he's filming to tell him what you're gonna do and still do it. And she was only probably fired because of the pressure. You understand what I'm saying? And forgive me for getting frustrated, but the brother said, like, I've been in encounters with white people and white cops. Right. So my shit is not just from the books and all of that. So forgive me. And that's what I'm saying too about things that's being caught on camera now. But this shit been going on. You feel me? It's been going on. So at what point, like you said, if you know that people, listen to this, man. Let's not even talk about violence. We dealing with bullies or people who just, if I'm scared to steal, right? And my brother say, yo, let's go over here and steal this thing. And I'm like, man, I ain't stealing. And we walk in the store and the dude behind the counter just watch us take the shit and leave. Now that person that was scared to steal, he like, oh shit, is that easy? So he gonna do it. So you see what I'm saying? So we just creating this until somebody say, you can't do
this. This is wrong. This is wrong. Exactly.
Not only that, try and take that shit if you want. Now it's a shame that we're coming to this. You did what I'm saying? It's a shame.
I agree with you. I agree with you when you said
about it. I'm sorry for one minute.
No, I'm sorry. You did.
You're right about that, Derek. About I just believe some people are born with this hatred because
absolutely.
When we moved into two different neighborhoods, we lived in Overbrook, and and they were Italian, and she would throw the N-word around like you wouldn't believe. Okay, and of course it was geared towards a family that was of darker skin. Put your phones on mute if you guys until you talk. I'm hearing some feedback, but So her anger was more towards these darker skinned family. So when I went outside and I'm like, some choice words, who the you think you talking to? She says, not you, Fran, not you. You different. You different. And I'm like, I'm not different. I'm African American as well. But you have those who with the darker skin, but then the Upper Darby, and in Upper Darby, we went to go, and this should have told me not to move in, okay? Because this little white girl was sitting on a step next to the house that we went to go see. And while we're sitting there, we're sitting on the step with her, me and my husband, and the little girl, she had to be 5 years old. She says, she's nice, playing with us, talking to us, and then out of nowhere, she says, why are you black? And I'm like, and it just shocked me. I looked at my husband. I'm like, because black is beautiful, right? Didn't pay any mind to it. New Year's Eve, we're at church. That's what we did. We went to church New Year's Eve. We came home. There was a brick thrown through our window and KKK written on our step.
Wow.
So I have actually been a victim of racism.
Wow.
So you're right. It's taught because that 5-year-old, she didn't live long enough to know or why to ask me that kind of question.
Exactly.
I don't know, but I would assume that they're not holding class with their children at that young age to tell them that our skin color was something that wasn't good.
Exactly.
But
when the children are in the room, when they're having adult conversations and the children are in the room, they hear it. Like the kids are like sponges, so they pick up on everything. Like I have godchildren who go to a predominantly white school. And so I had a conversation with the mom, and I was saying, because there are 2 black children, you may want to have a conversation with your sons about what the possibilities could be in that type of environment so that they're not caught off guard. And so, they didn't think that it was going to happen, but about a year into the school, one of the little white children, we're talking about elementary school kids, one of the little white children called one of my godsons the N-word. And I know that he didn't get that from anywhere except his home environment or his environment. So that's why I brought up the question as to whether you think it's taught, because usually when you see little children playing with different kids, no matter what their race is, they don't see color. We teach them that. And I don't mean we as in us, but somebody is teaching them color, because you see them playing together and all they see is, this is my friend. So I think that where we do a disservice to the children that grow up to be like police officers, like this man who murdered George Floyd, is we teach them that the wrong thing. So sometimes we have to unlearn what the world has taught us and just become engulfed in this global world that we live in. We have to learn to live together in peace, because we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So deal with it and learn to deal with it in a positive way. Like, we're not all bad people, just like they're not all bad people. So we have to learn to embrace our differences as opposed to being despising and fighting against what makes us different from each other. Like what happened to me was so senseless and could have been prevented. This man did not deserve to die over a pack of cigarettes or a counterfeit 20 that they say he used to buy the cigarettes. Like it makes absolutely no sense. And the fact that, like Derek said about the young lady who had the video camera saying, I'm gonna call the police and tell them that a black man is harassing me. It's like she knew that would be ammo for them to do harm, because we have seen it happen time and time again. So it's the same thing with this officer. He sat there with his knee on this man's neck while on video. So it's like they don't think that anything is going to happen to them as a result, because there has been the history. And they get slapped on the wrist, where the injustice in the justice system is horrible. So we also have to touch on that as well. Like, we are all
here, Tony.
Like to me, I grew up in an all-black family, and we were never taught hate. We were never taught race. We were taught human. We were taught people. And you treat the human beings that they are. So so to see the different side of it, it is upsetting. It is painful to watch play out in this global world that we live in. It's absolutely horrific, and I could talk about this all day.
I know.
That's my 2 cents.
Lynette, what you right? Derek made the key point. They desensitized to it. You kind of, as a police officer, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. You see so much shit you can't take home. I ain't gonna lie, black people, white people, everything. That it desensitizes you to some of the stuff. And you, as a police officer, you don't really have that outlet to go talk to somebody. You can't have a girlfriend or wife or whatever to be able to go home and say, I saw this, I did this. Only people can relate that to you are fellow police officers and the nurses or doctors at the hospital, because you guys are dealing with it together. So you do get desensitized to some of that. A lot of it come back to fear, like you were saying. But I know you said we're not taught racism, and I think Derek probably can speak to this as well too. It's taught in a different way. Being a black man, I remember growing up, everybody like, yo, the white man holding me back, the white man doing this, the white man doing that. And you know me, Lynette, we grew up together. You had to have that mindset, like, no, ain't nobody holding us back. We gotta go to school, get a good education. We gotta learn how to deal with these people, how to talk to them on a level. And they ain't gonna understand everything we deal with. But when they realize that, we just not this black dude you should be feared of, that we educated, we strong-minded, we smart, and know more shit than them, or just as much shit as them in most cases, they learn to perceive you in a different manner. At the same time, we learn to perceive ourselves and learn how to deal with them, how to approach them in different ways.
Right.
So it's a totality of everything what we're saying that goes to that point, but it's just not all, like, I know y'all saying it's rage and hurt. I look at it the same way with people riding right there. Like how you say their eyes go dark. I look at it like everybody, right? Don't get me wrong. You got the point. You got the lockup. That's not even lockup the point. We need conviction, because if you guys realize it, only officer that's really been convicted that you ever hear was the one black officer who got killed, the white lady.
Right.
But when people turn around and see us it's no longer about the incident or this black person get killed. It's about them thugs. I have friends. I was working with my friends last night. They live in Morocco and all that. They all getting calls. They's like, Antonio, it's funny. There's like, we getting calls from overseas, UK, Morocco, like the cops killing black people over there. It's like, this shit ain't nothing new. But what they saying now is that all the loot and all the stuff that's taken away from the main cause while things happening, and that's where we losing that part of it. But I'm glad we out there fighting, because now they starting to realize, okay, we can't keep doing this shit to these people. There's too many of them back to back, and you can't justify it. The cop hitting his damn man back for 9 minutes. At one point, he was desensitized to the matter. The other cops, and that's one thing I do want to point out to you guys. People always wonder why the other cops standing there. You're always taught as a cop, you have a contact officer, and then you have the backup officer. The other cop's position is really to observe what's going on. Half of them scared as hell. They see all these people start forming, taking pictures. If you notice the other 3 guys, and that really blew my mind, because there's no other way you can justify this shit. You got 3 officers stopping this man from getting air through his lungs. There's no way in the hell he would have been able to keep breathing. Right. Now they try to say it was some other shit. He had a precondition or maybe drugs in his body. No, he fucking couldn't breathe. Exactly. But if you notice, that cop even had his hand in his pocket, and that's what pissed me off more, because you cannot say you was in fear of your life. As a police officer, you always taught it's how you articulate what happened. So, and like I said, y'all keep saying the justice system. You definitely rather be judged by 12, by jury, than carried by 6 dead in a coffin. And how you articulate that to justify what you did, why, then it makes sense. Just like it blew my mind to hear that, that them pitting a knee, officer pitting a knee in someone's neck is a taught practice at that police department. So they able to do that, but the fact that dude deal with so many different people, and you no longer people. Yeah, at this point, you're no different than people who slaughter goddamn pigs and chicken and stuff.
Exactly.
It's just second nature.
Right.
And can I just say something? The question too, just to speak, you said about that's a practice in that precinct. Then you got to look at what's the percentage, the population of black people. So these people create laws, always did, to protect them. We got to understand that. We wasn't in the plan from the rip. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
And we just got to come to grips with that, man. Like,
right.
You know, even you know, and I'm hearing it. You know, all white people ain't bad. Like, we know that shit. We don't. I feel like we don't have to keep saying that shit.
But just like all black people are not bad either.
Exactly. But I'm saying it's like, to me, like on the subconscious level, man. Like what have been done, the way black people have been Europeanized. Like, it's like you say, okay, yeah, we are humble people and all that. God damn it, we know that. Like, for me, I'm just different. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to keep appeasing them. That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't have to say, oh, white people ain't bad. The news, when I turn it on, they want to make sure they're showing that the white people is out there rioting with us. Oh, we're all in solidarity. You motherfuckers ain't set this shit off. We set it off. So now you come to you understand what I'm saying? Like, they play games. Right. The manipulation. Like, you see what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying, man. I understand.
Hey, Derek, not to cut you off, one thing you haven't noticed, do you see them out there with the signs, fuck the police, this and that? Guess what you never see their face at? You don't see them looting. They never show them.
But this is what I'm trying to say. They want to show you what they want, so we can not be like, you see what I'm saying? So we don't really keep this mindset. Right. I mean, it's just the other brother, man, I don't know where he went. Like you said, our age bracket, we've been afforded, you see what I'm saying, the luxury of seeing how things played out from the 60s and before. All the Crips. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't be on social media. My sister was telling me today that they had T.I. and Killer Mike talking about, and then one of the newscasters like, oh, they're not telling us that we should chill out because they said it. You see what I'm saying? Like, they put the entertainers. What I'm trying to say is we got to stop letting them dictate the way we move. You dig what I'm saying? They trickery, like they light years ahead of us, man. They study us. You understand what I'm saying? It was like FBI informants back in the day that said they was in the height of the Black Power and the US organization, everybody back to Africa. They basically was like, they was in shock of how much these white people, you know what I'm saying, knew about our culture and about us more than they did. They study us. You understand what I'm saying? You feel me? And as far as to be carried by 12, I get that. But if you come from the joint, freedom is death. Like, if you not going to fight, man, you see what I'm saying? It's got to be organized. You understand? It's no war is won without bloodshed. It was bloodshed that caused this. It was that caused this. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, I would say to you, man, and I know police officers do that. Like what you as a black man being on both sides, like what would be your suggestion to brothers that's frustrated, might want to turn up? You know what I'm saying? Like, we need some. So we don't be all out of control. Because I'm gonna tell you, man, a lot of people is fed up, and it's like, yo, you gonna fucking die anyway. You understand?
You know what, Derek?
Die anyway.
What I'll tell us. First of all, we need to do, man. We get here and we get angry, right? We go out there, we rob, we do this and that. However, when it's fucking time to vote and to change shit in your community, I agree. We're there to show up. So if people don't realize, if you go out there and vote, our streets, everything, law enforcement, our street, we dictate that. But they know we're not going to show up. We're gonna make our voice here. But when it's coming in, I don't know that motherfucker. He ain't do nothing for me. This and that. That's our approach. So that's where it starts at, Derek. The same thing. Listen. I agree, right? The same thing, we still, like Lynetta tell you, one thing I always try to get back, and I'm mad at myself because I'm not giving back as much as I should right now. I'm on the science side, so I go to a DC school and teach these kids marine biology stuff. I teach them on the slick side, like shit that they just think that, oh, it's Nemo or this and that. I get them learning pH, salinity, and all that kind of stuff, because only way expose them to different stuff they didn't see, to get their mind sharp. Oh, I know this. I can do this. I know what this stuff is. But until we learn to get out there, man, and make a change, we showing out in the street heavy right now. But when it's day to vote, man, I ain't staying in line 2-3 hours. Fuck that. I'll be laughing at some of the time when I'm in line, because you make change in your neighborhood. When I go back to Philly, I'm so mind blown because I grew up 21st Montgomery, Columbia Avenue, seems to be more now. And Lynette tell you, we went to the Philly parade, and I'm looking like, oh, they like, no, this is this now, this is that now. And I'm looking like this gentrification bullshit is getting us out of our neighborhood. I don't even know the damn name of the neighborhood no more. This 31st and
they didn't split
Park,
it up.
But she told me no, it's this now.
They split it up because to me it's a way to raise the property tax.
Right now we can't afford it.
People
right,
that they don't want in the community out of the community, but it's all
exactly.
North Philly. But they split it up to Brewerytown, Northern Liberties, Yorktown. It's all North Philly, but they split it up so that they can raise the prices of the mortgages there, so that you can no longer afford to live there, and they can bring in who they want to bring in, and then raise those taxes up. Because it's $300 houses in North Philadelphia that they probably bought for $10,000.
Right.
So that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
Yeah, we need to have that conversation one day if you guys get a chance, because that's really important. Because that's why our voices, we losing our voices all the way around, because they know we're not going to show up. We're going to show up for something like this here, but when it matters for what's our kids' future, and
exactly,
we're not. That's when we're not, and that's where they're. Believe me, bro, I feel you 100%, because, and believe me, I've been frustrated like hell because I live both sides of it there. I've lived know what it's like to have nothing, and I know what it's like to have a lot. And I know to be comfortable where my place. The other thing, I ain't gonna say this here, and don't get me wrong, I'm a God-fearing man. Definitely believe Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. But a lot of people get this stuff, and they get this Bible-toting people who just speak the Lord, this and that. Man, they've been doing this so long for us. Even through slavery, they used the Bible to control us back then. So we go to these churches, and like I said, don't get it wrong, because you have to, it's like that spirit of discernment. You got to know you're in the right type of place where somebody going to feed you the right word and stuff like that there. But they use that stuff to go against us. And it bugs me. Even like I'm laughing because my buddy Ivan just called me, and my buddy Tony, they two people who got me into the church. And I realized they like the hell with this and the hell. Like, no, Ivan, it's not that bad. I'm still love the Lord. But I get where they coming from as well, because they always use the Bible back even during slavery to control us. Right. And all that stuff goes on. So you got the people in the church that say this and that, but those are false prophets, because you have to see the reality. Like, hey, we have to stand back up.
That is an interpretation.
It's pretty much what you said, Derek. You got to shed a little blood sometimes to get your point across.
Rewritten and misinterpreted, and then it's based on your way of thinking. So whoever is the one that's up there preaching and teaching the word, you want to make sure that it is of God and not of their own personal thoughts and opinions and views. And I think that's how we got a little mixed up with all these denominations when it's only one God. But that's a whole other conversation too.
Yeah, but can I just say on that real fast too, the difference, because again, the church did serve a purpose when we were all on one accord. Like, they used to kick the white dude out when you had the revolutionary dude. People weren't really rocking with Martin Luther King like that. So I'm just saying, it's just like, again, for me, the more we realize we merge into white society is where we lose. You understand what I'm saying? Because even dealing with the church, you still had your kumbaya, but you had the deacons for defense. Like, again,
right.
You see what I'm saying? So you had these different fractions, even in the church, that knew that we was in a fight. So their whole game is to keep us docile on so many levels, and we can't keep falling for that. Now, I just want to say this too, because we did do the joint. We used to have like the little youth program, all that, and you're right about the political thing, right? And another thing, just real fast sidebar, we do this joint called 40 acre free tour, 40 acres in a mule free real estate tour every Thursday. So we are like trying to get people. We just had the guy on talking about how to get your credit together. So what we're trying to do is encourage families to buy property. So say like, to get your credit score together. And so like we already have family, Lynette, you might be the first one to get your score up to be able to buy a house. So we all putting in money to every week, you understand what I'm saying? So once you get your house, you buy it, then we go to the next one. So we buy the house, and then we might rent it to the next one. So we on that. The political.
So how can people find out about that, Derek?
I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send you the John. All right.
Okay, and I'll definitely post it on our Real Recognize Real Facebook page.
All right, that's what's up. And the thing too, with what we dealing with the political thing, right? Again, it's we lose faith in this system. So we got to get people to more so understand the local politics more than just the presidential shit. You dig what I'm saying? So that's something that has to become a part of our culture. It's not a part of it. And then again, when you look at people, like we ran that race, when you look at the black mayors, the black peace chiefs, the black people that's in position, and you see nothing change, it could make you just lose interest in that. You feel what I'm saying? So we gotta be tactful on how we get people interested in that. You feel what I'm saying? So there's so much work to be done, and it's like whatever is your lane, just rock your lane. Because you know what I'm saying? And then know that it's a collective. But I agree with you, man, on that note, man. But it's like, think about what we're going through now. You got this ADOS, you know, descendants of American black slaves. They basically like, we don't vote for nobody. You see what I'm saying? Like, why are we still rocking with the Democrats and the Republicans? And H. Rap Brown told us that in the 60s. Like, you know, it's the same monster. You feel me? So it all depends on who you're getting your information from. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like this. I get it. We do have to vote.
Absolutely.
I'm stepping away because I can't hear you guys. I don't know what happened. It got real low. But
time to go to your primary election in Pennsylvania, June the 2nd. Make sure y'all get out there and vote. June the 2nd. You want to go out and come back in, Antonio? You
say that I'm here. I don't know if you can see me. I can see you guys, but it's real low, so I'm putting.
We only see your lips.
Let me put that back.
We can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, it's real low for whatever reason. It got real low.
It's
I'm
real
not
low
sure.
on my end too. I thought somebody turned the volume down, but I can still hear.
It is. So just speak up. I can hear everybody fine.
I hear anybody too.
This has definitely been a great conversation. I mean, I truly appreciate you guys coming on and being a part of the conversation, because it's so needed. It's so needed about what's going on in our community, what happened to George Floyd and others, you know, it's just, what can we do? What do we need to do to change this? I love Martin Luther King, like, you know, but the peaceful part of it did not work. You know, they don't listen when you turn in the other cheek, or when you, you know, you're being peaceful. It just seems like it's not working. They're paying attention and they're listening now that we are actually, you
protesting
know, and the violence. Now everybody is listening. You know, the coverage is all over the world. I don't want that for us, but what do we do? What do we do is the question.
One thing we can do, Franchella, we have to change legislation. We have, like, the way stuff is written right now.
So if we're driving
like, even
down
like
the street
federally,
and we see a police officer behind us, we like, oh God, I hope they don't pull us over. I hope they ain't gonna kill me today. You know what I mean? And who got
true.
Like that. So what do we do? What do we do? Is a good question.
Go ahead, Andy.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but what we have to do, and just listen to this thing now, we have to find ways to make sure we get people to help change legislations. These second-degree murder and how everything plays out. Like, I was listening, you know, I don't know the federal system that much, but I know that they got the federal FBI and all them out there. Well, the FBI won't be able to charge them based off the crimes that they have, because it doesn't fall in this particular type of criteria where they were saying that they didn't intentionally kill him. You can't, and the way it's written, you can't intentionally. What I see, you would be able to say they intentionally did it, even though we know their actions speak louder than words, and it may have been done. It was just lack of whatever, but certain stuff they can't be changed. So we have to get the books. We have to get the laws and the books changed to be able to say, no, this is fucking murder. You know, you shouldn't have to find all these different criteria. If the man restrained his arms behind his back, he keeps telling you can't fucking breathe. And I guess what makes me mad when I hear this now, because they already called the cops. They were saying they already called an ambulance saying he was in medical distress because he fell twice. So if you know you got somebody in medical distress, why the hell would y'all put all y'all body on him? Because he's not in the, you know, we don't know if he was suffering from a seizure. We don't know what he was suffering from. That may, even they try to say he resisted or whatever. Okay, he may have been having some type of seizure or something. So that made him, but Y'all got all y'all body on him, and you don't know if he, and you already saying he had a medical condition, but you already restrained. So 2 and 2 doesn't add up. That's the stuff that was really making me mad. It's like, they called for EMS and all the EMT. Well, why are you laying on him if you know he got a medical condition?
Exactly.
The store owner came on CNN and said that his footage did not show him
any resistance
at all. So,
or any resistance.
Right.
So and they said that he wasn't resisting. He went over to the police car himself, and when they told him to sit down in the police car, that's when they claimed that he refused to get inside the police car, and somehow they got him on the ground and then they handcuffed him. So at that point, he posed no threat. Once you have him down on the ground in handcuffs, he poses no threat. So it's no excuse for you to put your knee on his neck. Like,
to be honest, I think that's why they locked them all up.
Minutes. Even when the ambulance came, his knee was still on his neck. Like
they said,
and he still didn't get off the man until they lift him off the ground and put him on a stretcher. So it's for them to say that that's 3rd-degree murder manslaughter, which in Minnesota means that it was unintentional, is wrong. It's wrong. I think that they hurried up and put him in jail because of people was out there burning up everything, and they just want people to calm down. But he needs to be tried. He needs to be tried, and he needs to have a case, him and the other officers. Because to me, if you are there and you're witnessing a murder takes place and you do nothing about it, and your job is to protect and serve, then you are an accomplice to murder.
So guys, right now, I want to wrap this up. So I want everybody to give their final words.
That was mine.
Okay, I know. I want you guys to give your final words. Derek, you wanna start with your final words to wrap this whole conversation up?
All right, my final words is when you real quick, Martin Luther King, he did change up and basically say, ain't no document gonna do this. We got to do this. So once Martin Luther King started saying that black people need to focus on black people, he said himself, I integrated my people into a burning building. You understand what I'm saying? That's really why they killed him, because he started rallying black people to do for black people. Now, my main thing that I would like to say is we just can't keep falling for their trickery, man. You know what I mean? They tell us how to think. You understand what I'm saying, with what they put up and all of that. So we just gotta watch the games, man. And as far as changing the laws and all of that, man, think about it, man. They changed the laws when we started arming ourselves back in the day. If we gotta stand up. That's the only thing, man. I'm not saying that everybody gotta go out here. It's not about violence, it's about protecting yourself. I feel like, I don't know, man. Truthfully, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, just watch their trickery, man. You know what I mean? Watch the people they put in front of you and tell you to listen to. That's it, man. And I want to know what we can do, because I'm telling you, people are getting frustrated. A lot of black people are going out buying guns and all of that shit, and with no training or no backyard conversations to how to handle this, it's going to get crazy. It's going to get crazy because people are getting tired, and these younger people, they out there, man. They you understand what I'm saying? Once these young boys that kill each other for no reason get the right training, and people tell them, because I ain't gonna front. Listen, if stop killing each other. I used to rob. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't going all of that, but for years. So all I'm saying is, once people really say, because these young cats ain't ready, they ain't scared to die anyway. You understand what I'm saying? And you got people that been shooting at cops. They're not going to show that. They're not going to show people retaliating too much because they don't want to spark that type of energy. You see what I'm saying? So truth be told, a lot of the times why they show us still getting killed and nothing happened is to remind you that this is what's going to happen to you if you get out of line. It's no different when they put the chick and spreaded the horses. So it's all psychological, man. They play psychological games with us, and we have to be hip to that. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes they remember buck breaking and all that. It's the same thing. And once you start retaliating, you make them regroup. That's my word. They play games. The psychological shit that they play, we got to be up on it. I'm done. And thanks again for having me. Hope I ain't rambled too much.
No, that was fine. Thank you.
We appreciate you. Definitely. Thank you so much, Derek. All right, Tony, what's your final words?
Well, I want to first say, Francella and Lynette, thank you guys very much for inviting me in here. These are something we can talk about forever. I love what you guys are doing because you guys hitting stuff that really matters. I love to see you guys go all over so people can see this, because then other people be able to log on and see this and realize we have a fight in our hand. And you're right there. We do gotta arm ourselves and get trained up. Unfortunately, we take a lot of that crime out on each other. So that's the first thing we have to realize, that all black, the same way we say Black Lives Matter, and in the black community, we gotta realize that our guys matter, the person beside us matter, and give her that damn crab effect. We have that crab effect thing going on where we have to, outshine the next person or have more than a person. So, once we start taking care of home, then we can be able to have, and like I said, education and voting and stuff, man. We have to do something to where we make them realize we have a voice in our own community. Because until we start voting, they realize they don't care, so they ain't gonna do infrastructure in our streets. They're not gonna build new stuff where kids can go and play. We're in all the same age. We grew up, we had POW centers, we had different apps where we can go to and express that extra energy. If you wanted to fight, you had gloves and all that stuff. I remember my grandmother and all the neighbor people put gloves and stuff on us. Y'all got something to get that anger. You don't got to shoot each other, but wait, let's put some gloves on. Let's see who can hold their own. And it's fun and games. It's nobody hurting each other, but at the same time, you realize, okay, this and that. We have to get back to that. I don't think, they have little places here and there, but the kids don't have those same outlets to be able to do this. So baseball, football, POW, and all that stuff where they can go get that energy and strength. And my mind is so over the place right now. So I'll just go back to say, just thank you guys. And I appreciate, everything you guys said, especially Derek, you make a lot of valid points what you're saying. But we just have to learn to use our mind and channel that energy in a positive manner where we can turn around and apply it to say, okay, yeah, we have a voice. We have this, we have that. We ain't stupid. We far from stupid race. If you notice, I look at it and say where they sit out there and tan, they want to be like us so much. You want to say hate? I think they hate that they're not us, because everything they do, the music, the tanning, everything is one of the almost to be us.
Exactly.
And that's my closing thought.
Can I say one more thing? I know.
Thank you, Tony.
As far as the voting too, see, this is the thing. It ain't just about us voting. We gotta buy politicians. You see what I'm saying? That's because we voted Obama in. Now people can say what they like about him or don't. And I don't know if y'all remember when Byron Allen was going through his thing, and people can have whatever they say about Byron Allen. But he basically said he was frustrated because he donated a lot of money to Obama's campaign, and when it was time for him to pay off, he didn't. But you see what I'm saying? So that's the other thing I think the big misconception about voting. It ain't just us voting. It's like who they going to listen to, because it's no threat to them. If they don't serve us, they lose nothing.
I know we have to cut this short to wrap it up, but just real quick, Derek, you got to crawl before you walk.
No, I understand that.
Those little steps, the voting, the Obama stuff. Obama's the first black president. It was limited, really, what he can do. He had expectation. You see what they turned around and did? They picked the worst white person behind Obama, because and he did stuff for us, but he just, to me, he laid the foundation. So for the next black woman or the next, then we can start really doing stuff. People got to realize the biggest thing right now, white people are in fear of becoming the minority, Latinos and black. So all this shit is happening. They'll tell you it's almost like they're apocalypse, because they ain't going to lose control. I lived in LA and all of them, California, all them years. Once you start getting a Latino mayor and all that stuff, they don't go anywhere because them Latinos. So that's why they try to, sit there and repress, vote, and everything else, because it's a fear. That's the biggest thing. I wouldn't be surprised they bring the world to an end before they lose all the authority that they have. So that's what it comes down to.
I agree.
But that's why I voted. That's another point, Tony. That's why voting is so important, because we are the ones who elect who are in Congress. We are the ones who elect who are in Senate. And those are the vote. That is where they make the laws. So if we don't do that, the governors, the mayors, the president even. So if we're not out there exercising our right to vote that our ancestors fought so hard for us to be able to do, then we can't say, oh, we don't like the law. Because we're not voting on the judicial system. That is also a part of voting. So voting is important. So I'm glad that you brought that up. No, it's not the end all be all, but it's
you crawling. You got to crawl before you walk.
I'm not saying don't vote.
But see, we get into just the president. We're going to go vote for that. But like you said, we have all these electoral votes.
Right.
Prior to leading up to the presidency, who makes a lot of these decisions, because the president, at the end of the day, doesn't have the final say on a lot of things. I think it's that they do and they don't. Obama, sadly to say, is he had all odds against him, no matter what. So he had very limited, to what he could do, for not just our people, but for the world in general and good, because he was a black man,
Franchella, if you look at it, Trump doing everything he did to get rid of that man's legacy. Everything that he did. And that's why he loved around the world the way he is.
Well, I think it's because of Obama he ran in the first place when he roasted him.
Because what?
When he roasted him, remember at that little joint he roasted him? I think that's the thing Trump said.
Just to wrap this all up, the president, because he's not my president, the president that's now in the
45. I call him.
I truly believe, that he enhanced a lot of this hatred that's out here today.
I agree.
Encouraged, he talked about with the KKK and being the Nazis and being good people on both sides. You can't be good if you're a hateful person. So I agree. I believe that he is the root of all evil when it comes to what is really going on in this world, because now these white people, these KKKs, these Nazis, they feel comfortable coming out and taking off that hood and that sheet and doing.
They don't have to wear it no more. You're right.
Don't have to wear it no more. But trust and believe, we are the new wave. We are the new, generation that will not go back to slavery. We will fight
absolutely not
and now to make us live a better life. So if they even thought that they can, bring us back together and bring slavery back together, it would never, ever, ever happen. Not in my lifetime, because at that point, I don't condone violence. I don't, but trust, I will get out the street with the best of them and do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
To save our generation, my children, my grandchildren, and it's not going to happen. But I do believe that we can't do this alone as Black people. Martin Luther King even had, you'll see a picture with Bernie, in the march with them. We do need other nationalities to be with to march with us, to protest with us. And you see that out there. It's not just Black people out there protesting and doing these looting and stuff. It's not just, Black people. But, what president, gets on Twitter? Why didn't they take his Twitter handle away from him at the very beginning? Because
a long time ago.
He has destroyed, I even was fearful with the battle with China, that any day a nuclear bomb will come over to the U.S. because of how he is bullying all these other countries. Like, he is not good for our country at all. And so I have to just pray on that. I know a lot of people, plus myself, I do believe in prayer. I am a Christian myself. I don't always believe turn the other cheek. you know, but I am a God-fearing woman, and all we can do is, you know, make our voices be heard, vote, and you know, and through prayer before it gets to a point where it becomes a lot of bloodshed. So thank you guys so much.
Thank y'all.
You know,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you,
continue
brother.
to have a blessed day. Yeah, and look out for more texts and emails, because I'm sure that we will come back again and have additional conversation, because I think it's good. It's good for people to hear this conversation, to join in on this conversation, and maybe, you know, we'll be able to get some things done. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Y'all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. So make sure
Thank you, guys.
for our next show, which is June 9th at 7 p.m. Real Recognize Real Talk Radio. Thank y'all both, everyone who participated today.
Thanks for having me.
Your insight, your feedback, and we're praying for y'all. I love my brothers.
Yes.
So we need y'all. So I just want y'all to know that we need y'all. So stay in this fight with us.
Absolutely.
We stand with you, and we support you, and prayers go out to all of the victims and all of their families. On behalf of the Real Recognize Real Talk Radio Show, we praying for you. Our condolences.
Yes.
Thank you.
You guys are our kings.
Stay safe and well.
Nice meeting you. I'm glad you got your check. I saw